Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the concealedcarry.com YouTube channel. I'm Tyler Tharp with Synergy Training Group. This is going to be a two-part series on considerations of your vehicle for the defensive and safety-minded citizen. First part's going to be carrying on our body. How do we keep that gun on our body while we're driving, long distance, short distances? And then part two is going to be what do we keep in the truck? Supplies, gear, things of that nature. Y'all stay tuned. All right, part one of this series, it's just a two-part series. It's not much, but I'd like to talk about how I carry the gun on my person while I drive. You see on Facebook, Instagram, internet, all the time these ads for these weird little things where you stick the gun on your dash with a magnet, or that crazy little rail thing where you push down and it loads the gun for you, and little things that strap to your seat, and it's just like there's all sorts of things out there. Let's talk about that. First and foremost, I'm not a fan of off-body carry because there's just no real way to get good practice with it. You can't just go drive your truck up on the range and start shooting in and out of it. And even if you could, it's probably not a good idea. You accidentally shoot your vehicle or anything. So just not the biggest fan of off-body carry. Now, if that's something that works well for you and you can do it in a safe manner, a magnet isn't safe because it's not covering the trigger guard, and if you do get in some sort of collision, there's no telling where it goes. But if you have a safe way of doing that, then that's fine. Now, let's say you have a occupation where you can't carry, but you'd like to have your pistol with you to and from. The solution for that would be some sort of lockable safe. All right, if that were me, I would simply drive to the place of occupation, and before I get out of the vehicle, I would take my gun off of me and put it in my center console, because in my F-150, the center console locks. So does my glove compartment over there. You need to have it in some lockable situation. Generally speaking, most break-ins are just a snatch and grab type of thing. They break in the vehicle, they snatch whatever they quickly see of value, and they'll check under the seats real quick, glove box, center console, and they'll get out boogie. That's generally how that goes. So make sure it's safe, right? It's locked up and it's good to go. Now, back to the original topic here. How do I carry on me? I am a big fan of appendix carry. All right, I can still get to it. My seatbelt still works around it. I don't have to reach around or anything like that. Again, it's on my body, so if there is some sort of collision, or if I have to bail out really quickly to go provide aid to someone. Recently, I actually rolled up on a car fire, and you'll see in part two, I keep a fire extinguisher on me, and I jumped out and bailed out with me. Well, that was a very quick response type of deal. I didn't have to worry about grabbing the gun and putting it back on me and then grabbing this and going. I just was able to grab my fire extinguisher and roll out. So you start to see all these advantages of this. I just really prefer to keep it on me. It really does all things well. Now, some people are, they thought about the seatbelt and how that interacts with the gun. And I've even seen people take the seatbelt and then take their stuff up and put the seatbelt behind the gun. Well, let me tell you how seatbelts work. You have this lap belt, and then you have these shoulder belts. This lap belt, whenever you get into a collision and you go forward with it this high up on here, it is actually above your hips where it's meant to stop and stabilize you. That's not a good thing if you have it above the hips. Now it's going to start pushing into your abdomen, your your intestines, all those soft bits inside of there that can't take a collision all that well. You really want to leave it over the top of the gun and low on the hips as it's intended to be. That lap belt on your lap, all right, not your belly. You can still get to it just fine. Say I'm driving along and for some reason I need the gun, rip everything up and get to it as needed. It does take some practice, and I would highly recommend dry fire practicing this, obviously in a safe environment and maybe outside the viewership of your neighbors, because that'd be kind of weird. But yeah, I would definitely practice that. So with all that said, it's really as simple as that. Keep the gun on you when at all possible. Wear your seatbelt normal. If your body type doesn't allow for appendix carry, I would figure out some sort of like 3 to 4 o'clock position. For lefties, that would be your 9/8. Never small the back. Small the back is just going to produce some soreness that isn't so good. And then how in the world are you supposed to get that around anyway? So realistically, appendix is going to be your best option here, or that side hip carry. All right, well, that's all I got for this one. Stay tuned for the next one where we start talking about what's in the truck.